Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
Sorry, I had my mic down. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am good.
Cool.
Um, First, I wanna see what you think I should do as far as these next few weeks because I'm supposed to take my MCAT on the 20th. Oh no, on the 7th of August.
Uh huh.
So I mean, right
So
now,
that's 3.5 weeks, it seems.
yeah,
So, did you end up getting those next step tests? The
yeah, I
blueprint
did.
tests? Okay.
I planned on doing two full lengths a week since it's so close, and I didn't get to do that many because I was
Mm hmm.
so caught up with anatomy.
Yeah.
So I was gonna do the next step full lengths on Thursdays, and then do the AMC ones on Saturday because I only have three more AMC ones anyway.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So, we should meet in between those exams, when you do those exams,
hmm
so we can completely go over it
hmm
before you start the next one. And so, unlike last time, we're going to basically do every section. Well, except for the next step cars,
hmm
but we're gonna do psych and soc as well.
Okay,
And yeah, and we can basically go from there.
okay,
Whatever you like learn from like the psych soc sections, you can put into like Anki cards.
hmm
Um,
So I don't
that's
know.
that's
Have
how
you
I
ever
did
heard
it
of this
basically.
thing called MIM?
Hmm. What is it?
You have
No, no, no. What is it called?
MEMM.
MEMM.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Let me Google it. MCAT studying made better. Interesting. Let's see. I also get something called maximum entropy Markov model. But let's
Yeah,
see. Okay. What is this about? Okay.
I have it open right now if you want me to show you.
Uh huh. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here, one sec. Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to disable it. Oh, there you go. So it's kind of like Anki, but
Yeah, I see that they mentioned spaced the spacing effect.
hmm so yeah,
That's
they have that. I planned on using them. I just bought it yesterday.
But by the way, this is a psych soc topic. Tell me about the spacing effect.
When you space something out, the more and you can recall it, the better like you retain it or something like that.
So
No.
if the better you know something, like let's
hmm
say it's an Anki card or something like that, like the better you know it, the less it will show that card to you because you know it already.
hmm hmm
And so that's why on Anki, it says good, like or easy, good,
Hard,
hard,
yeah.
try again. So the harder it
hmm
is, the greater the frequency at which it will be shown to you.
Oh, okay.
So the entire idea of that is
hmm
compared to like regular flashcards or something that don't use the spacing effect.
hmm
Let's say you have just regular flashcards and you have like 1,000 of them. Each time you do it, you're gonna do like whatever, like 1,000. But if you utilize the spacing effect, then you'll basically do like the cards that you need to know, and if you know them, then it just won't show it to you as much. But it seems like
Makes
they
sense.
also use something called a testing effect. Let's see. Okay, that's kind of what I agree with because it says information retrieval through active recall is far more effective for memory consolidation than passive review.
Mhm.
And then let's see, interleaving, strategic ordering, and mixing of subjects, intersectional learning. So yeah, that's basically what I say about looking at things very interdisciplinary in an
Mhm.
interdisciplinary way. And okay, so this looks pretty cool. All right, let's see.
Yeah, so this is what I planned on doing because I feel like there's no reason my score for
Mm-hmm.
psych social isn't higher than what it is.
Yeah.
And for physics, I honestly need to just memorize the equations
So
for some of them.
yeah,
because trying to understand it, that didn't work for me last time.
No,
It did not.
yeah, if only they gave you like your results with like the questions you got wrong and stuff, right? Imagine like if we can have all of the MCAT like exams that they've made, like having access to that. I was thinking of like imagine like signing up for the MCAT, going there and just memorizing it, and then going home and then because when I
how are you gonna memorize 200 something questions?
Because when I did this is what you can do. You can go to the bottom where it gives you the citation of the paper that it's based on, and just remember those. But I remember after taking it, I would go out after taking the test. I would like sit on.
You
the
did
bench.
Say that. Go look up questions.
And I was just yeah. And I remember one was a question about zebrafish or something, and I found like the paper that it was based on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's called like craziness. So let's see. So why don't you click on, let's say, attention memory. I want to see what comes up.
You said which one?
Oh, attention and memory.
Oh. So some of the stuff they do have, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen this stuff before.
Yeah. So okay, I get. So these are cards. So let's see what else like comes up. So if you click on that cards button.
Oh yeah. So it just like.
Oh, it makes it into card form. Okay, got it. So
yeah.
So let's see. Are there any is this like mostly like content and stuff?
Yeah, that's basically all it is. It's like Anki, but it.
Got it.
Because when I made the account, it asked me like the order I want to study, which was I need physics help the most and biochem the least. So
got it.
Yeah, that's how I set it up.
So physics, behavioral sciences, okay.
And then what's after that? Yeah, Orgo, because there's some stuff I need to get a refresher on for Orgo.
Okay.
So I can show you my last Kaplan, Bullen. That I told my program director that was the last time I'm taking Kaplan. Well, I didn't tell her, but that's the last time I'm taking it because I mean, can't really tell me how to like which resources I can use to like increase my score. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't like Kaplan. The first one I took that we had to take, I made a 490, but this last one I made a 495.
That's good.
Their exams are stupid. And I reviewed the CP and BB section.
Got it.
Already. And I realized for BB, because this time I'm trying a new approach, I'm actually like writing down the questions I get wrong and stuff like that and why I got it wrong or whatever. So most of the questions I did get wrong is because I was moving too quick.
Yeah.
And did you see the psych soc score? Like, how was that my lowest score? Like, that did not make any sense. Cars.
I would guess that it's because, like, what? That's, like 5 hours into it, 5.5 hours into it, something like that. So you're probably super tired. I got wrong. Yeah. Like, psych soc is when everyone wants to leave. That has an effect. It's really hard to maintain attention for that long of a time period.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Because I can show you the ones I got wrong. I didn't even go over it yet, but so I got this one wrong.
This looks like some. Oh, interesting. fMRI. I like it when they go into like the brain stuff. So, do you know what an fMRI is? Oh, your mic is off. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I was saying, isn't that when they like tag something to visualize it? They want to see the function of the
So I have an idea. So let's take some more notes, and I'll tell you some like content stuff, and I'll connect it in various ways.
Okay.
So I'm gonna connect it to physics and like orgo right now.
Okay. So actually, I have one note now.
Oh yeah.
With a good pen that I paid $90-something for.
Oh yeah. Do you have this?
Sorry,
guy?
this is anatomy stuff. But
yeah. This so you have the surface? Is that what you got?
No, I have. It's the one that go. It's this.
Okay. Oh, it looks similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one.
This guy was like
Active
$90.
Something. Yeah.
And then
at first I didn't buy it, but then I bought a cheap one from Amazon.
That's what I did too. Where's my cheap one?
Yeah, my classmates are all taking
this is my cheap one right here.
See, look.
It requires a quadruple A battery, which is like I never knew that existed. But this one, like, it's like hard, so it's like it doesn't really work that well. This is the cheap one, and then this is like $90 one, which is like softer, but yeah. So okay, so you got your note thing ready?
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, MRI is the same as NMR.
Okay.
The reason that they call it MRI is because this pretty much was invented after, like, the nuclear bomb was invented and nuclear, power plants were invented. So, so basically, like, people, didn't want to, like, if you were at the doctor's office and someone said, do you want to do a nuclear magnetic resonance test? They'll be like,
Okay.
So they basically call it. So wait, is the camera on her tablet right now, or?
Yeah, you know what? Let me connect to the Zoom on my other laptop.
Got it.
So I can take notes on this. Because that's weird. It's turning on. This is the school laptop that I'm using.
Yeah, so it was basically, so it's essentially the same thing. Do you know what niacin is? Well, actually...
Niacin?
Yeah. It's, I think it's vitamin B2.
Oh, yes. You said vitamin B2,
oh, no,
right?
B3.
B3, okay.
Yeah, so its real name is nicotinic acid, but this came out when information about nicotine causing like cancer came out, so they rebrand it, so they call it niacin.
They call it what now?
Oh, niacin.
Okay.
So it's like for the same type of same reason that they call NMR MRI, they rebrand it because NMR has the word nuclear in it, and niacin, has the word nicotine in it. So people are like, no, I don't want that.
Okay.
Yeah. But
okay, I'm about to exit here.
Okay.
And I joined. It said I'm waiting for you.
Yeah. Here, one second. Oh, I see you. Okay. Here.
Ooh, how do I exit?
Now you have like a setup like mine.
I know, right?
I have my tablet right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because this one
turns. You want to see like? So look, this is you.
Oh wow.
And then I have this over here. It's a vertical
one.
How
many computers do you
have? And then this one. So yeah.
How many computers do you have?
I just have multiple monitors, but yeah, I have like a couple of computers as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now I'm good for the note taking. I can pull it up here as well. My Kaplan. Oh, I hate that it's on two different computers. Okay. Okay. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what MRI, that's what an MRI is. And an fMRI, that F means it's a functional MRI, which means that it so the MRI generally, takes a picture of your brain basically. And it can detect like changes in blood flow basically, right? But it just takes a picture of it at a certain time. An fMRI, it takes a real-time photo of it. So it's almost like a video. So if you basically... So they use it to see how your brain changes or what parts of your brain are activated when you do something.
Okay.
Because if you just had a regular MRI, then it just is a picture at a static moment when you're inside the MRI machine. But for an fMRI, it's like they have you do a certain task, and they see in real time what parts of your brain are using more. There's more blood supply to, which means that it's using more oxygen, which means that it's working.
Okay. Sorry, I'm writing this as you're talking. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and if you want to think about like the physics of it, essentially it's I saw your face. So essentially it sends a radio signal to the water molecules. So let's say this is like the orientation of a water molecule. It sends a radio signal to it, which makes it flip. And then when it flips back, it sends that radio signal back.
Got you.
And
so
yeah,
the molecule does that.
So it's kind of like when an atom gets a photon and the electron goes from a ground state to an excited state. And then when the electron goes back to the ground state, it shoots that photon back. So it's the same concept, because a radio signal is a light signal, so photon, same kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah.
Makes sense. So basically, when it's happening, it bends the molecule.
Yeah, it's like
like visualizing what's going on.
Yeah, it's like it's like you throw a ball to someone, and the person catches it and like maybe like bends backwards, and then when he throws it, he bends forward again. So it's just like that. So it just basically holds it for a second and then shoots it back.
Okay.
So, and that's how, since MRI is the same thing as an NMR, that's how an NMR works as well. So in orgo, when you're trying to figure out the structure of a molecule, you shoot something, at it, a radio signal, and it basically like causes it to like kind of like switch, like, move, like bend a little bit, and then it shoots it back.
Okay. That makes sense. Where is that? For some reason, I can't function without showing my gum, but I can't. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things that helps you, like, focus. I remember I used to do that in class when I was, like, when I would, like, fall asleep.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's like something that you're doing that you can kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, it helps you focus on one thing because my mind be everywhere.
Yeah. So
this.
Yeah, let's see. So in the months leading up to an American presidential election, they did a study into political bias.
Mm-hmm.
So they used 30 male participants. 15 are strong Republican. Wait, let me see that at the top. And then 15 strongly Democratic. Okay. Placed within an fMRI machine and shown several sides of information. So statement, contradiction, then a question: to what extent do these? So how much do they contradict each other?
Mm-hmm.
And then they give a rating. And then there's an exculpatory statement, which I think means like that they're not like guilty or something. Culp means guilty, like culpable or the culprit.
Mm-hmm.
So exculpatory, I'm gonna think means that. Let's see. Then wait. In light of this new information. Okay, so I guess the exculpatory statement is something like, "Oh, I did this. I admit that I contradicted myself."
Mm-hmm.
So they say that, and then the people give them a second rating.
Wait, where does it? Wait, hold on. Did I just not read that?
Oh no, so that's just in Figure 1. The order of the slides. I'm not even up to that part yet. Yeah. See that order of the slides?
Oh, right here.
So like, yeah, just think about that for a sec. So like, basically, like someone says something and then says, "JK, I didn't say that," and then you give them a rating, right? And then if they admit guilt, like if they own up to it, you can give them a second rating. So that is kind of like how this test is structured, because it makes you think like if someone admits something that maybe they'll have a higher rating. That's what it makes me think.
I did not read that part, and I didn't know what exculpatory meant anyway, even if I did read it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, exculpatory, like I basically looked at it with culp, and that's a Latin for like guilt or like admitting something, and a word that can help you remember that is culprit.
Okay. I'm trying to see how I want to take my notes because I don't want it to be all over the place. Whatever. I'll just write it down.
Yeah, I wonder if by the way, are you taking the notes? Where are you taking the notes?
On OneNote.
Is it in the same notebook that we used or a different one?
No, I want to use the same notebook we used, but I don't know how to get access to it.
Okay, like through the OneNote app, you mean?
Yes, because I have it still like...
Yeah, in the browser?
In my favorites, but I don't know.
Okay.
Do you still have it, or...
Wait, what's that?
Do you still have it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or can I share it to myself? Like...
Yeah, so yeah, whichever one. Okay, wait, let's see. All right, we'll figure out how to get it like open in your OneNote app.
Okay.
After. But
ooh, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna screenshot the question.
Mm-hmm.
And write on that. Okay. That's what I'm gonna do.
So like at like we can get it on your thing or like copy and paste it onto that one, or you can share your current notebook with me so I can see kind of like what you're writing and stuff, and we can both kind of like put like information there.
Okay. So how do I share it?
Oh yeah. So on the OneNote you can see like on the top right like a share button.
Okay. Which email do you want me to use?
Oh, you could just use I guess my Gmail.
Okay. Hold on. I forgot what.
Oh, I can tell you. It's A Khalid, my last name, 16 @gmail.com.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Your first name isn't Adnan?
Oh, it is.
Wait, so why'd you say last name?
Oh, it's A and then Khalid, my last name.
Okay, because I put Adnan 16.
Oh, yeah. My bad. So, yeah, just A and then Khalid 16.
16. There we go. Okay. I was about to say, don't tell me I didn't know your name. That's sad. Okay. At Gmail. I'm getting used to working with Dales.
With what?
Dales. I'm used to my MacBook. Dales.
Oh, you like a Windows?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I sent it.
Okay.
But yep. Okay, cool. Let me go. Oh, it's already on there. The good thing about the program I'm in is that since I'm in their master's program already and I want to go to their medical school, I just really need a few more points increase, because I was talking to the director of admissions. She wasn't really supposed to look at my application, but she kind of zoomed through it, and she was like, if I can bring up, they can probably work with me for my CP. It was like a 124 last time.
Yeah.
But if I can bring up my BB, because they don't really, those are they care most about the sciences.
Yeah. The biological sciences.
Yeah, the biological sciences. So if I can bring up BB, like I think she said like 2 more points.
Yeah.
2 to 3 points. And yeah,
I'll
be good. If I can, my overall can increase by just 5 points. I really don't know what happened last time. I'm telling you, I don't know, because I thought I had that in the bag. I was confused when I saw my score.
Yeah.
But maybe, I think it was the anxiety.
Yeah. On the test itself, it's very easy to do that.
Okay, practice test. Okay, sorry, I'm...
Oh, yeah, no.
Trying to paste this. Oh, shoot. Did it not save? Oh, my God. Yeah, I gotta screenshot again. Okay, you can go ahead. Do you want me to scroll down?
So first of all, like, make sure that figure 1 makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to refer to it.
Okay. And I think that was my problem. I need to, in psych-soc, I don't really pay attention to the figures unless it's like an actual, like this one right here. Oh,
yeah. So figures are kind of like an easier way to, like, display the information.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they didn't have the figures like this, then they would have to just write it all in a paragraph, and then it would be hard to like decipher and know, like, you know, it would just be a much longer, like, passage.
Gotcha.
But you can see how it's like a series of slides, so.
Yep. Okay, so first they had a statement.
Yeah.
And this was, we're placing it and showing several slides as shown in figure 1. So they were shown a statement, depending on their party that they aligned with. And then they were shown a contradictory statement, and they were asked a question, and then they got a first rating. And then they had to give
so what is that question asking?
To what extent do these 2 statements contradict each other? So asking the statement that they stated that they're...
Yep.
I'm just going to use Obama and Trump.
Wait. So the people that they choose on the test, like, half of them are strongly Republican, half of them are strongly Democratic, but the politicians or whatever that they show are the same for both.
What do you mean?
So, like, let's say they use Trump, both of the people, like, everybody will see that, like, statement, contradiction, etc. And then they can use Obama.
So they don't know that the person is Republican or Democrat.
I'm not sure, but I am sure that the same person, like, it's basically just one, like, politician or whatever, and both of them will see, like, that same person. So it's not like only the Democrats will get
Republican.
Wait, what's that? Yes.
Okay, the parties. Okay.
And
so they own a statement from who?
Oh, just some like person, some politician or something. Because if you think about it, like in a test, right? You have to have like one independent variable and one dependent variable, and that means that you keep one like the same.
And one is the one you are manipulating, the independent. Okay.
Yeah.
Took me forever to understand that. But so statement, they were shown a statement and then they were shown a contradiction to the statement, and they had to answer to what extent are these statements how much do they contradict each other?
Yeah.
And they had to give their first rating on what is the rating part? Is that them rating how contradictory the statement? Oh,
just rating the politician.
Okay.
So let's say it was Obama, right? Then it's likely that the Republicans will say that will answer that question by saying it's a really big contradiction. Whereas, maybe the strongly Democratic side would say it's not that big of a contradiction. But you see how that can kind of give you information about how political leanings can influence people's beliefs on whether something is like very contradictory or not, or a little bit. So that's where the first rating comes in. The second part, the exculpatory statement. So if you didn't know that, it does give examples. So like, let's say the statement in the example. So the statement is, as a congressional hopeful, the candidate promised not to cut funding to public works projects, right? Then the contradiction is, once elected, the candidate removed several public works projects from the federal budget. So like...
Oh, exculpatory statement is like a justification or rationale.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like after that contradictory statement, that's when they can give a rating. And then after that justification, right? They can give another rating.
Got you.
And it seems like exculpatory is actually not taking the blame, but putting it on others. That's probably what the X part is, because X usually means outside.
Okay.
So now that makes me think that the second rating will be lower than the first rating. Because it kind of, like, if someone, like, if you catch someone lying or whatever, or not, keeping their word, it's like, all right, that sucks. Like, but if then they say, if they don't own up to it, you kind of, like, think, like, that sucks even more.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, each participant was shown 3 such series of slides. One for the Republican candidate, one for the Democratic candidate. But you see how for the Republican candidate, both the Democrats and Republicans see them? And then for the Democratic one, both of them see them too. So we keep that thing constant so we can get like a, some measurement that shows like actual, like that shows you something, right?
Yeah.
So... Okay, and then one for a politically and emotionally neutral male celebrity. Okay. So that's kind of like a control here. Because because like Republican candidate, you would think that the Republicans will give higher ratings for, and Democratic one vice versa. So how do we know that it's not just, some fluke? They have the control, someone who's politically neutral or whatever.
Yep.
Okay. Now, They analyzed inconsistency rating, so that's basically, I suppose, a difference between rating 1 and rating 2. Oh no, sorry. It's actually just rating 1 and rating 2, my bad. Not the difference. So that were given on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 negligible inconsistency, 10 whatever extreme inconsistency. Now the results.
So they were rating. They were basically rating the how consistent the candidate is.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or their statements, how consistent their statements are.
Yeah, it's more like they know it's inconsistent because it's a contradiction, but it's like how inconsistent is it?
Okay.
So it's like a measure of how, much they've contradicted themselves.
Okay.
So we have, the results in figure 2. So it makes sense, right? The Republican candidate, the Democrats rate the inconsistency as being higher than the Republicans do. And then for the Democratic candidate, it's the opposite. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then for the neutral celebrity, it's like pretty much like similar. And that's exactly like what we kind of expected to see. All right. Now, let's see what the fMRI says. So, researchers also compared neural activation during rating 1 for the same party and opposite party conditions by subtracting out areas of activation for the neutral celebrity condition. It was discovered that when evaluating statements made by candidates with whom they shared a party, participants showed activity in both the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system. That was not seen in the neutral celebrity condition. Analysis of the opposite party condition versus the neutral celebrity conditions showed no such limbic system activity. Okay, so tell me about the prefrontal cortex.
That's where our whole decision-making stuff, right?
Now tell me about the limbic system.
That deals with the amygdala, so like emotions and fear.
Yep. And so for the celebrity, right, that limbic system was not activated. So what can you say about the decision or the rating when they made the rating for the celebrity?
It didn't really like phase them like that. Like it didn't upset them or anything because it was a neutral celebrity. Like that was the control.
So their decision making was not interfered with, right? But for when they had the opposite party and stuff, the limbic system was activated. So their emotions interfered with or influenced their ratings, right?
Yes.
So, yep, that's pretty much what this entire thing is.
And that's what I got from it. So I don't know how I got this question wrong.
Oh, let's see. The results of the fMRI analysis in the last paragraph provide support for which of the following inferences about evaluation of contradictory statements made by political candidates. Let's see. You said evaluating same party contradictions cause more stress. Okay. What do you think about that?
So the reason I said that is the whole like amygdala, fear, aggression, that type of stuff. So I was like, if they have, like we said, if it's a Republican candidate, the Republican participants will obviously rate it lower, meaning they don't think that the statements are that inconsistent, like it doesn't
But wouldn't they have less of that type of emotional response for a same party, like a candidate who's in the same party?
Okay, wait.
So that's one of the reasons. Mm-hmm. And the other one is because of cognitive dissonance.
So that's why I put that, because I was thinking they have conflicting, they're having conflicting thoughts.
I can see why you would.
I don't know, maybe I was overthinking it. And then plus I try to stay away from, because I'm trying to implement these testing strategies. So I try to stay away from the only and the nevers and.
Okay. So yeah. So cognitive dissonance is an example of like a psychological phenomenon, like something that happens like, within the mind. Mm-hmm. When they bring the fMRI into it, now it becomes more neurological, right?
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So we're basically looking for some answer that's neurological.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why it wouldn't be C. The other reason is the stress part.
Obviously, that will cause less stress, because there are. Oh my God! I just had an aha moment. Mm-hmm. So, which is a psych term. Flashbulb, isn't that memory? No,
it is.
Okay.
Yep.
So.
Oh, like yeah, something like that.
Right.
It's like when the light bulb turns on.
Yeah, and you're like, aha. Mm-hmm. Okay, but basically, the same party, it will cause less stress, because they're gonna hold on to what is it, confirmation bias? Is that like hold on to what they already think?
Yeah. So there's that. But basically, what we need to think about is, so the limbic system emotions. We don't know if it's necessarily stress.
Okay.
There are ways to like kind of measure stress, like cortisol levels, your sympathetic nervous system switching on, so like heart rate, sweating, which is like electrodermal activity, pupils dilating, things like that, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and they're just saying, like, what do the fMRI results, show? And all we can see is that basically when they're doing a same party evaluation, they're using the part of their brain that's responsible for emotional processing. Now, it's true that part, like the amygdala, is like something that basically senses like fear and things like that.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So, do you see how there's like a couple of reasons that we can disprove C, but and I can see, no pun intended, that how it can be, because cognitive dissonance it says possibly due to cognitive dissonance, like that's probably happening, right? Like that's definitely that's happening, because they're like, I like this person, but I have to admit that this person contradicted themselves, so I can't, so they're clearly not giving a fair, like, unbiased rating. If they did, then it would be the same results, whether it's Democrat or the Democrat or Republican, right? So C won't be it for those reasons. Now I'm just gonna take a look at B and D. So let's see. D says participants attempted to explain the contradiction. That never happened. They just had to give ratings, like on a scale of 1 to 10. No other like information. And B says moral reasoning. So that is a type of reasoning which happens in the prefrontal cortex, but we're isolating the amygdala. The the limbic system, which includes the amygdala. And then A says, while decision making... Yep.
You said we're just isolating... I know we're isolating limbic system, but they did say prefrontal...
Oh, yeah. That's not part of the limbic system, though, right?
Yeah, but...
Oh, I said amygdala, but I corrected myself to say limbic system. And then amygdala is part of the limbic system, so yeah. But they're not just using the amygdala, they're using the entire limbic system. Okay, now...
So reasoning goes with just the prefrontal cortex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then for A, then that would be A is just using the limbic system and not the prefrontal cortex. But in the passage, they're using both.
So that's what. So when they say while decision making was required in all cases.
Oh, haha. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So A is basically just saying that the fMRI is showing that the prefrontal cortex is activated in all cases, but only same party evaluation showed emotional processing.
Gotcha.
And that's just, that's like I know the only part made you reluctant to choose that, but that's like the most general way that they can put it, because you see how emotional processing is more general than stress.
Yeah.
Like the more specific you are, the easier it is to like disprove.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very general. It's saying decision making. So like since you know exactly what those parts of the brain do, you know, you can think prefrontal cortex, decision making, and then limbic system, emotions.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
I'll go to the next one. Yep.
All right, which of the following describes one reason for including the neutral celebrity condition? Okay, this is exactly what I said about the control.
So I knew it was the control.
And
that's why I thought it would counterbalance, like it would like balance it off.
Okay, so if you think about it that way, then maybe you can think about like positive control and negative control. But if they balance each other out, like the Republican candidate balances out the Democratic candidate, right?
Oh, okay.
And you see how they're opposite? So if you superimposed those two graphs, they would be equal.
Yep.
Now, the neutral condition is basically, so another word for like a control is like a way to measure a baseline, like a neutral, like a completely normal level that you use as a standard to compare whether something is like going to be greater than that or less than that.
Okay. Gotcha. At least I knew this one. I'll go to the next one. So, the reason I didn't pick this one.
It seems like you did leave it.
Huh?
It seems like you did leave it, which is good.
Yeah, so I knew it wasn't going to be A or C, but the reason why I ended up choosing B is because I'm like, with experimental, I'm thinking about like molecules.
Well,
yeah,
they did use an fMRI machine, right? And they did create an experiment, right? A case study is like if you look into a particular case. So like let's say they isolated one of those one of those participants, and they looked at that participant's like life history. So think of a case study as like, so each of the 30 participants each of them is a case. So like it's thinking about that one participant as a case and going through that entire person's life.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so so it'll be experimental methods because they create that experiment, right? They design it, right?
Yep.
They have it like with the slides and stuff, and they have a rating system. So.
Okay.
Yeah, in psych soc, you'll have experiments that are more like, not like involving like molecules and stuff as much, unless they're evaluating, some type of, you know, medication or something like some pharmacy, like, kind of, or like dopamine or something like that.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's not like, that they're not like cutting us open and stuff and just looking, at us like that.
Okay.
So experiments can be non-invasive and based on ratings as well.
Okay.
Or like you can write like experiments don't have to be in a lab.
Okay. That's weird. I looked at his Gotcha. Used ethanol. Oops. Okay.
Oh, Sapir-Whorf. Okay. This reminds me of Okay, so Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Okay, well it tells you language can influence cognition and vice versa. So I remember seeing a passage about this topic using like Finnish and Norwegian. But anyway, so they're basically saying that so they're saying it's a concept of linguistic relativity, which is just another word for it depends on like from what perspective you look at something. Like relative, right? So
yep.
Okay, so most commonly cited examples involve the claim that Inuit people have different words for different kinds of snow, or that the Hopi, which is a type of Native American tribe, use different words to distinguish between drinking water and the water in a lake or a stream. So those are like kind of common examples that show that language influences the way you look at something, or the way you think about something. Okay, such examples are commonly interpreted to imply that cultures with richer linguistic ties to concepts have a greater understanding of those concepts. So it kind of starts off by saying there's a common interpretation of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis that people who have more words to describe something have a greater understanding of that. So he's probably going to dismantle this or something. Let's see. The most elaborate argument for the existence of linguistic relativity involved the fundamental differences that were proposed to exist between the Hopi and English words in the conceptual category of time. So it was argued that the Hopi language did not discretize time. So like that just means like discrete means like in units. Like quantum mechanics is a perfect example of discrete, like stepwise. There's no in between. So it's saying that the Hopi language didn't conceptualize time in units like days and weeks. They viewed it as a single continuous process. Okay, then they say later researchers have not found evidence that supporting such a conceptualization of time by the Hopi. So, again, that's exactly what I thought he was going to do. He basically brings up an argument saying that, elaborating on this, and then he kind of says this isn't really true.
Okay.
So, okay. A related concept is that of words that do not translate directly from one language to another. Many instances can be found in descriptions of emotions or feelings. Emotional ideas that can be summed up in a word or short phrase in one language might require a more lengthy definition in another. For example, the Russian word taka can be translated as an ambiguous ache of the soul, as a longing without something specific to long for. But there is no single word in American English to describe this emotion. So okay, he's now introducing a similar concept by saying that one word in a language may not translate to one word in another language. One word in a language might only be translated as like a phrase or something. Yeah. So like, it's not like a 1-to-1 ratio. So he's kind of flipping the idea that if you have more words to describe something, then it's a richer linguistic ties and better conceptualization and stuff. And then it's like flipping it on its end by saying sometimes one word equals many words in a different language. So if they have fewer words to describe something, it doesn't mean that they don't conceptualize it as well. It may just mean that we don't have, like, it takes a lot more words for us to describe that same thing.
Yeah, so that's why I picked A for this one.
Okay, so let me check this out. So, okay, a Russian individual experiences a set of life circumstances and describes his emotional response as taka. An English-speaking American experiences the same set of circumstances. Which of the following most likely describes the American's emotional response? Okay. So, that American could describe it in English. It just won't be in one word.
Okay. That's okay, but will experience an emotion for which a word exists. First of all, they didn't even wait. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. She will definitely experience it, but will not be able to describe it.
So, in addition to that,
it's extreme answer as well. I just kind of contradicted myself from the last passage.
Well, that's like a rule of thumb. It's let's look at it like case by case. So okay. If this Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, right? The idea that language influences cognition. So if this person doesn't have, if the American doesn't have a word for taka, right? So it's if you don't have a word for something, then it's possible, based on this hypothesis, that you don't have a conceptualization of it.
Yeah.
So we don't know if she... I don't know why I'm saying she... well, I guess because they're saying she. Yeah, so we don't know if that person...
Wait, you have to leave at 4:45? You have to leave at 4:45?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I can stay as long.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't know if she's going to experience taka. Because, there isn't really there isn't really a word for it in our language, right? Like, I just learned what taka is right now, so I can't say that I've experienced it before. I can, like, maybe now after learning about it and knowing, like, what it's about, but before, like, today, before, like, seeing it right now, I wouldn't be able to say that I experienced taka. Because I didn't know about it. So, and this entire like Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is about language and it being essential for understanding certain things.
So why couldn't it be B then?
Cause all right. So A is saying she will definitely experience it. B is saying that she will definitely not experience it. But the thing is that we do not know, right? Because now that I know what taka is, I can think of times perhaps where I had an ambiguous ache of the soul, like a sense of longing, without knowing what specifically I'm longing for. So now that I know what it means, like even if I didn't know what it means, right? Because that's the second part. The second part is being able to describe it, right? So I wouldn't be able to describe it before today because I didn't know what that word meant. But have I felt it? Maybe. Like even before knowing what the word meant, I may have felt taka throughout my life. I just wouldn't have, I wouldn't know about it, so I wouldn't be able to describe it. So we basically, yeah. So I guess in this case, you could think about the extremes in terms of whether or not you experience it.
Makes sense.
And then let's see, she may or may not experience taka depending on her cognitive appraisal of her circumstances. So that just means like since they both have the same circumstances, but like one person may think of it or like appraise it. Like an appraisal is like when you kind of like, I don't know. Like usually that term is used if it's like you're selling a house or whatever, and it's like I need an appraisal, which is like some estimate of how much the house is worth. So in this case, it's like I have these circumstances. How bad are they? Are they really bad? Are they really good? And both the Russian and the American have the same circumstances, but they may have a different appraisal of it. Like the Russian might be like, "Hey, it's not that cold," or something, because it's cold there all the time. And the American might be like, "Oh my God, like it's so cold."
That's like me going to New York.
Oh yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I just didn't know the difference.
Well, like you can kind of think of it. All right, so I guess you can think of it as like, because I'm just looking at it and I'm like, I don't necessarily have these memorized, but empirical generally means it's based on like observations. Like most of science is based on empirical evidence. Things you can observe and see and count. Interactionism, I see the word interact in it, so it's something that might be influenced by interacting with individuals like parents and things like that. And behaviorism, which is like based on your behavior, so that your outward signs of activity rather than your inner mental thoughts. Nativism, I think of maybe like something that you're born with, because that is like related. That word is like kind of like about where you're from. So let's see. When deaf children from different cultures are brought together, they will spontaneously create systems of signs to communicate with each other. Interesting. All such spontaneous sign languages share common features without simply mixing signs from parent languages. These observations support which of the following views of language acquisition? Oh, okay. So, yeah, language acquisition is like, how does a person learn a language, right? Like a baby, right?
Yeah.
And one of the concepts is like a language acquisition device or something, LAD, something like that. But anyway, since this is people from different cultures, right? and they still come up naturally with sign language, like not the official sign language, but a type of sign language, right? They come from different cultures, right? So interactionism is based on social interactions, like their interactions with their parents, teachers, things like that. So that's culturally, influenced.
You said culturally influenced?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then, behaviorism is based on your, behaviors. Empiricism based on, actual evidence. But nativism, it supports nativism because it shows that they can come from different cultures, but they're born with the ability, even if they're, if they're deaf, especially if they're deaf, to come up with some type of form of communication. Okay. AKA some type of language. Because they're essentially inventing a language, right?
Yeah.
And so it supports the theory that language is something that we acquire. The ability to acquire language is born. Innate. Yes, good. Pretty much that.
Oh, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wait, what?
This isn't the name that they put. No, what's it? Is it Wolf? Something else. His name starts with a W, or it's this person, Warf.
Noam Chomsky? I think it was him who talked about it.
I don't know. I'll be having so many different, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, well, a lot of people talked about it, but Noam Chomsky, I think, talked about it recently. He's the most recent person who talked about it.
Okay. I was mixing the names up.
Yeah. But basically, language acquisition is a process by which humans acquire the capacity to perceive and comprehend language.
Okay.
Yep.
Definitely crossed out the right answer here.
Oh, okay, let's see. The concept of taka is a representation of an idea as opposed to a physical object and is related closely to a particular group of individuals. Thus, a sociologist would describe taka as an example of... Okay, so check this out. So an image schema is basically, if it looks like something, it is something. So kind of an example of this is Egyptian hieroglyphs. Because they look like pictograms. A pictogram is if I draw something that looks like a bird, it means bird. That's what they originally thought the hieroglyphs were. But it's actually a symbol. So a bird could mean God or something.
Okay.
So it's so it represents an idea, and a symbol is an example of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it looks like it. It doesn't mean that the way that it looks represents what it is. That would be an image schema. So symbolic culture, that's just an example of if a word represents an idea, it's a symbol.
I was thinking of symbolic interactionism, and that's why.
Oh, okay. That could have helped you with that previous question because it talked about interactions.
Yeah.
What's a social contract?
You said a who?
A social contract?
I don't want to use the word as a definition.
I mean,
an agreement between.
Yeah, it's like a tacit, which means spoken. It's not a literal contract that you sign. It's just a tacit agreement that people have in society.
Okay.
I think I first read about it when I read Thomas. No, it wasn't Thomas Hobbes. I think it was Rousseau or someone, or John Locke. One of those like Enlightenment philosophers, but it basically, yeah. And then cultural capital. Capital is like a means of like value, like, you know, there's like wealth and stuff like that. Cultural capital is like if you have a lot of knowledge of culture, you can use, you know, you have a lot, you can kind of think of it in terms of like in like a Marxist kind of setting, like it's like a type of wealth almost.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's see. Suppose a word exists in a culture that means uneasiness experienced upon hearing good news, but before confirming its truth. Oh wow, I felt that before. Okay. Which of the following, if true, would least support the application of the Warf hypothesis to this emotion as described in the passage? So we're gonna basically treat all these choices as if they're real and true, and see if they see which one least supports the idea that language influences cognition and vice versa. So let's see. A word represents an emotion unique to individuals. I'm just gonna look at the word cannot be easily understood as a combination of the emotions happiness and fear. Okay. So it's saying, so that's combining language and cognition, right? The understanding of something, of a concept, using language.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, let's, compare that to the other ones. Let's see. As a result of shared experience, individuals in this culture are generally more wary of good news. So, okay, that kind of is another example of okay. So I guess that's just saying like an example of a culture that has a word for something because the people in that culture are generally more cautious when it comes to good news. It just kind of like explains like the origin of it, I suppose. The word represents an emotion unique to individuals of this specific culture. I mean, that goes without saying. Individuals of a nearby culture have absorbed the word into their own lexicon. Let's see.
I don't know what lexicon means.
Oh, it's like your own personal dictionary of the words that you use.
Gotcha.
So now you can add lexicon to your lexicon.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so let's see. This one's kind of weird because of like the double negatives. Alright, let's see. Okay, so if the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is talking about, and it uses examples to show that one culture can have one word to mean like a lot of things, like a lot of like concepts, and other cultures, if they don't have a word for that, they won't even have the ability to like really think about that concept. And then B is saying that a different culture is using that word as well.
So you're saying the Warf hypothesis is the whole one culture can have one word to mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
And B is saying the opposite.
Yeah. And since this is pretty like subtle, I would just use it like to compare. I would compare that choice to the other ones and see basically, or just if you look at all the choices and see like which one is the least similar to the rest. Because A is saying that this is unique to to people of this specific culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And C is saying, again, individuals in this culture. Right?
Yeah.
And then D is saying, you can't easily understand it using other words.
Got you.
So A, C, and D are all kind of supporting the idea that, or supporting just how this is unique to a specific culture, and it's difficult to translate that into another culture.
Okay.
Whereas B says that a nearby culture has already easily, not really easily, but has already absorbed the word into their own lexicon, so they're already using it.
Okay. I get it. I'm just taking notes at the same time.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one is a harder question, I would say. And whenever you have, something that's hard generally is something that's like where the answer is more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's harder to see something that's subtle without comparing it to the other choices. Because when you compare it to the other choices, then that subtle difference becomes like a much bigger difference.
Okay.
So that's so if I just looked at B, it would be, no pun intended again, kind of I don't know if I'd be able to figure it out just from that, but if I compare B to the rest of them, I kind of get something that's very different.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all these wrong answers. Was this the question about...
Oh, so this one, it seems like you just had it the other way around.
Yeah.
So let's see. So in 1970, people who were affluent, essentially, lived in the suburbs. In 2010, most of them lived in cities. So it starts off with a negative correlation with urban living, with affluence and urban living.
Because it was 65% in in the suburbs and 32 in the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did you think suburb was urban or? Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking for this one.
Mm-hmm. A positive correlation means that it's like the same thing as if they're proportional or whatever. Negative correlation is like inversely proportional. So negative correlation means that more affluent people will, or less people who are affluent are less likely to live in urban environments.
Mm.
And then positive correlation means that, as affluence goes up, so does urban living.
Okay. So, hold on. Incomes above that yielded decline. So you're would affluent individuals they would prefer to live in the suburbs
in 1970, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not in urban.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then in 2010, the majority lived in cities, so urban places.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is the question. I always get the demo.
Oh yeah. Do you remember those kind of charts, pyramid shaped and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I forgot the trend because I know. Yeah, I kind of never really studied it well, even though I knew I didn't understand it like that.
Okay, so think about it like this. So the y-axis is age, and the x-axis,
right?
Yeah, and the x-axis is the number of people that are of that age.
Okay.
So the earliest stage of whatever demographic transitioning means that there's a lot of people at the bottom. Like when I say the bottom, I mean like a lot of young people, because there's less contraception, so lots of babies are born, and not a lot of them survive. And the life expectancy is lower, so you just have most people in the younger ages.
Okay.
And compare that, yeah.
You said in the early stages you have what now?
Oh, so in the early stages, so like, here, I'll give you an example. So my parents are from Bangladesh, right? And that's like really, really poor. So they're at the like really early stage of demographic transitioning. So like my dad has like 10 siblings, and my mom has like 10 siblings, because it's a combination of like not using contraception and I guess lower life expectancy. So they just have lots of kids, and less people are able to exist at old ages.
Okay.
And in like I guess like late stages of demographic transitioning, it's like the opposite, because people use contraception more and they have fewer kids because they have to pay for their college and all that. And people, due to like medical advances and stuff, people can live longer. So, think about like the baby boomers and stuff, and how we have an aging population. We have a lot of old people. Yeah.
Okay.
So
stages, a lot of kids, lower life expectancy, and the late stages is less kids but higher life expectancy.
Yeah. And like with the less kids part, like think about that with contraception as well.
Okay. And what did you say was the x-axis?
Oh, like number of number of people.
Okay.
Like on one side it'll be like like men, on the other like women.
Okay. Can you see my OneNote, or it hasn't?
Oh no.
Working? Okay. Cool.
All right. So for this, so this one, right? So like they're saying what could be a reason for it, right? So prevalence of HIV could be a reason that fewer people live longer.
Yeah.
Gender inequality in education could mean that that's another reason that there could be less like babies being born in like late stages, because like women want to complete their education. So some women may not have kids. They may have kids later, at a later age, right? Compared to like in countries where women are not expected to continue their education, or even they're just expected to like make babies. So gender inequality in education, that means that could mean fewer women in education, which means that it's going to contribute to them just making more babies.
Okay.
Increasing child mortality rates means that, it's less likely for a child that's born to survive and make it to, adolescence or something like that. So people make more babies.
Wait, people make more babies with... Increasing child... Oh, okay. And this is asking, wait.
Yeah, which of these things does not explain them being at this early stage of demographic transitioning?
Oh, okay. So the decreasing birth rates, that's the late stages.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Okay. And, because of all those reasons, right? Like use of contraception, gender equality in education, so more women want to complete their education, lower child mortality rate, so you can just have like a kid or two and you don't have to worry about them like dying soon. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
makes sense. I'm honestly tired of reviewing this.
We can do like some other subjects or whatever.
Yeah, it's taking too long, and it's already been almost 2 hours. Like this, no. I'll just review that on my own. Let me see. Do I feel like doing it? Yes, I had a few questions from the one I took. So number 1. Okay. So when I was drawing this out, I did my little arrows or whatnot. But just the question is for me to make sure I understand how they explained it. Is it this way all the time? So say if you have a 4-carbon molecule, it will what is it, like something fatty about acid? It will to acetyl-CoAs, so you won't get an NADH.
Oh, like yeah, in beta oxidation of fatty acids, like it'll cut it by 2s.
Yeah.
Each time because it makes CO2. And then it leaves like like the one that's attached to the acetyl-CoA. Oh wait, they're talking about NADH. Okay.
They said in the passage after cleaving it, what you just said. I knew that part, like decreasing it by 2 each time. But that's why I chose 9. But then the explanation said something about when it's only 4 carbons left, it'll be 2 acetyl-CoA molecules.
Okay, so it seems like each time it does it, it makes an ADH, right? So yeah, so each time it reduces it by 2, right? It makes an NADH.
Yeah.
So 18, how many times can you cut it by 2s? Oh, wait. So, okay, you cut it by 2s, and then I believe the last one, like when it's the last 2 that are left are the whatever thing that stays. So it'll be like you cut it by 2s until two carbon molecule is left, and that stays there.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at my metabolism brain dump from before. So okay, let's see. No, okay. Oh, fatty acid oxidation. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so yeah, each time. Okay, so
I hate this charger. Why is it not coming in? I'm listening though.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So, all right. So each time it cuts it by twos.
Mm-hmm.
I had it the other way around. It's not the thing that is left behind that is the acetyl-CoA. That's an acyl-CoA, I guess. But each time you cut it by twos, it form the two carbons that you take out makes an acetyl-CoA.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Oh my god, this charger is pissing me off. It doesn't want to go through.
Okay, so
if you still have this, can you share it with me? This OneNote?
Yeah. I actually don't have the fatty acid oxidation on this. At least
No, I'm talking about the OneNote that you made for me last time I was studying with you.
Yeah. You have it there.
Let me drop the email because it's not the same email. That's the email.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, oh, you know what? I think it might tell you, but okay, so each step, right, where it shows reaction 2, those two carbons that leave that main chain goes to making acetyl-CoA.
Okay.
So it's going to do that until there's 2 carbons left, and that the 2 carbons that are left are just going to be attached to a CoA. And it's just it's a fatty acyl-CoA.
So you said when there's 2 carbons left, it's what now?
Oh, so it leaves it when it's okay. If we have 18 carbons, right? The first time it's going to basically take the 2 carbons and turn it into acetyl-CoA, and then it's going to have 16 carbons left, and it's going to do it again. 14 carbons left. And it's going to continue doing it until there's 2 carbons left. When it's 2 carbons left, it leaves it.
Leaves what?
Oh, I mean, it shouldn't say leaves it. It no longer continues that reaction.
So, okay.
Because, yeah. So it just takes carbons 2 at a time, turns it into acetyl-CoA, and when there's only 2 left, it's like, okay, I've had enough. So it leaves it alone. And so each time it does this reaction, it makes an NADH. So basically, if there's 18 carbons total, it'll do that reaction until there's 2 carbons left.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll do it for the first 16 carbons.
Gotcha.
So if it was 20 carbons, then the answer would be 8. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So this one, okay. So when you have a buildup of something, in this one, A and P is in the product side. So when you have a buildup, it'll shift the reaction to the left. So that's why I chose increase the synthesis, because they said that reaction 1 is when the enzyme activates the fatty acid molecule, and basically reaction 1 is try whatever fatty acid. And their explanation didn't make sense to me.
Wait, say what you said again.
When you increase the concentration of the product side, like you add something to the products, it'll shift the reaction to the left. So that's why I thought it would increase the rate of the fatty acid synthesis.
Okay, let's see. Oh, well, that says triacylglycerol synthesis.
Oh.
Triacylglycerol is the fatty, it's like the 3 fatty acids that bind to the glycerol to make the fat.
Oh. Okay. I was reading that too quick. So it'll decrease the rate of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see. It says activation of fatty acid is needed for triacylglycerol synthesis. Decreased fatty acid activation will decrease the rate of that.
Okay. So that whole decrease of the activation, is that this reaction?
So, let's see. Okay, so they're talking about the synthesis of triacylglycerols, and it requires 3 fatty acids as well as a glycerol. Okay, and then this says it activates fatty acid molecules. Okay, reaction 1, and then let's see. Okay. Alright, so basically the fatty acid gets activated in reaction 1, and then it reacts with basically other fatty acids and glycerol to make the triacylglycerol. I think you can see it in that diagram over there. So okay, this is so another word for triacylglycerol is the triglyceride.
Okay.
So basically, you see that glycerol, that's like the backbone. So it's that glycerol molecule is like the left side of the triglyceride.
Yeah.
And then they don't show a picture of the fatty acid. So they just show like before and after. So the glycerol phosphate, you see how that top carbon has an OH attached to it? And then when you add the fatty acid, that OH turns into this, this ester over here.
Yeah.
So the fatty acid basically attaches onto the glycerol, right? And you see how they added 1 fatty acid, so then you have the thing on the top, that ester thing. You add the second fatty acid, and then you have it on that second carbon, the second row. And then you add that third fatty acid, and now you have every single carbon that's in that glycerol backbone has, an ester linkage.
But that's why I don't get it, because if you are increasing, if you have a buildup of AMP and you're shifting it to the left, if you have more fatty acids, you can have more
Oh,
triglycerides.
so that thing over there is talking about the activation of fatty acids, meaning it activates it, making it ready to be added to the glycerol to make the triacylglycerols, aka
Yeah,
triglycerides.
but even in that case, right, if you activate it, that's what allows it to start the process. So
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you? Why would it be decrease the rate of the triglycerol synthesis?
Because exactly what you said before. Remember, if we have too much AMP, it would move to the left. And if moving to the right is the activation of the fatty acid to get it ready to combine with glycerol to make the triglyceride.
I don't know why I think when I move into the left, that'll mean I can now increase my fatty acid.
Yeah, no, everything you said makes sense. I had to actually read a little bit above to see that this step is to activate the fatty acid for getting it into the triacylglycerol. But looking at the reaction itself, I would think the same thing, that the fatty acid is on the left, it's not on the right, so we're decreasing fatty acid as we go left to right. I would have thought that as well. But but then I had to read the part that said that this is just an activation step.
Okay. But still, I don't know. I don't get it. And how they explained it didn't make sense to me either, because I was thinking of the whole, just the regular Le Chatelier's principle questions that they usually give in CP on AMC. And if you increase something on the products,
Yeah.
you're shifting it to the left. So now you're going to keep making more.
Yeah. So the thing about this is just that left to right, initially I thought the same thing as you. I thought left has a fatty acid in it, and as we go to the right, we don't have a fatty acid anymore. That's what I thought. So, and that's what you're saying. So I understand that. But it just says it activates fatty acids, and above that, it kind of explains it. That's what helped me. So it says synthesis of triacylglycerols, right? Requires 3 fatty acids and a glycerol 3-phosphate, right? And then some other stuff. And then it says that it activates it to get it ready to be added to the glycerol to make the triacylglycerol, to synthesize it. So think about it as, so on the right, that acyl CoA. Think about that as activated fatty acid.
Oh, okay. So the activated fatty acid is on the product side. So if you increase, so the fatty acid that they have on the reactant side is the inactivated one. Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, the thing that I said, when you do the oxidation, when you break down the fatty acid, you take 2 away and make acetyl CoA. And I said when there's 2 left, you leave it. When you leave it, it's an acyl CoA.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay. This question, I just didn't understand their explanation. Oh, wait. Never mind. Oh, wait. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a ridiculous passage.
It really is. No, it really. I think I got.
Because I worked on this passage with a student who was also taking Kaplan, and I was like, yeah, this is this is ridiculous, even for someone who likes this kind of stuff.
I I don't. That's why I'm.
Yeah, but even for me, it's ridiculous. So basically, like the giveaway here is just damper. Like, to dampen something means to basically reduce it.
Okay.
So, okay, so let's see. The Voight model, that's the one that does a parallel thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, so yeah, this is so okay. The viscous force is the thing that is a damper, aka it works against the elastic force, which brings it back to, you know, what it was after you stretch it. And so in the Maxwell model, you think about them in series, which means that the K part, which is the elastic element, happens first. And when that's done, the viscous part starts working. So that's why you see in that elongation versus time graph, you see that, you know, at first, like, the time is 0. So basically it instantly gets elongated. So that's why it's that vertical line.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of curving, because if it curved, then you'd have both of them, the viscous element and the elastic element, working at once.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have a curve, so you basically just have the elastic element working, and then the viscous element kicks in, and then it just goes like that. So they're separate. And I think it even says underneath it that you treat them as independent from one another. Yeah.
Mm.
Deformation of the elastic component. Yeah. All right. This says, note that the two component forces respond independently. So they don't work at the same time. They work not related to one another. So, like, the elastic component works, and then it's like, I'm done. And the viscous component is like, all right, I'm getting in. So now it's different from the parallel model, which is the the Voight model.
Mm-hmm.
So here, they're working at the same time. And they're dependent on one another. So if they're working at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that they're going to work against each other. So as the elastic element works, the viscous element will work as well. Now, what does that mean? That means that they're going to, since the elements are basically working against each other, and if you didn't know that, then you can see that there's a limit of elongation, which means that you can't keep stretching it out. That means that there's something that's like pulling it back in. The more you stretch it out. So they're basically saying that, so that's why, it doesn't continue, the elongation doesn't keep going to infinity. It curves and it reaches a limit. And that's also why it's an overall curve shape. Yeah, this is a ridiculous one. But it seems like you have the right idea. Wait, what's up?
My internet kind of. Oh, okay. My internet started like messing up. I stopped hearing you. But why can't it be C then?
Okay, so you have the right idea. Because B and C are just flipped. So let's see. Okay, so why is the viscous component limited by the elastic component? All right, so basically, the elastic component is the one that lets it. Let's see. So, okay. Elastic, in the way that we use it, like generally speaking, is kind of the opposite of the way that it's defined in physics. Because when we think of elastic, we think of something that can stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But elastic really means that when you stretch something, the elastic part is that it goes back to normal.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't want to.
Because think about something that isn't elastic, right? Mm-hmm. You can stretch it, but it won't go back to its original shape. But yeah, that's a ridiculous passage. I've seen that before, as in like on the Kaplan thing.
Yeah, that was not it. Wait, is this the same? Yeah, 24. So for this one, what was my question? So okay, I got.
Okay, sorry. No, this is true. It's something that I'm into.
Oh, okay.
But so anyway,
perfect. So heat disrupts the intermolecular attractions, but I just didn't really understand how that dealt with this.
Let's see.
This question in particular.
From green to orange. Okay. So this is like some color theory stuff. Let's see. Subtraction color. Okay. Conjugated double bonds. Remember that stuff?
Say it again?
Oh, conjugated double bonds?
Yeah, isn't it just when like benzene has conjugated double bonds?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just to think of it as like related to color, I suppose.
Oh yes, something about.
So like if
when
something
it's conjugated, mm-hmm. the color.
Yeah,
right? Or something
yeah,
because
like it has tons and tons of like resonance stabilization. So yeah. Okay, and like pigments will look like that. It'll have tons of like if it's not benzene, like there'll be some benzene. It'll be like just a double bond, single bond, double bond. So that's a conjugated double bond. It's just double bond with a single bond in between. So that just means that a double bond can, like electrons from a double bond can go from the double bond to the single bond and make that a double bond. Anyway, like things with that make color will always have that. So it can also be referred to as like conjugated like pi bonds. But anyway, let's see. So a pigment, all right. So let's see. Okay, so for regular like molecules, it reflects UV light, but conjugated ones, since it's more stable, it lowers the, energy of the light that it shoots back at us, so it's visible and we can see it. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then got it. Got it. Okay, so basically, a pigment, right, will basically, if you shoot like whatever, it'll if you shoot like blue light at it, basically, it will give you back orange light. Mm-hmm. So it says, conjugated double bond systems stabilize the electrons so they can be excited by lower frequency photons with wavelengths in the visible spectrum. Okay, such a pigment, known as a chromophore, will then transmit the subtraction color that's complementary to the one absorbed. Yeah, so basically, like in table 1, if it absorbs blue light, mm-hmm. it'll give you back the subtraction color, which is orange light. If you shine yellow light at it, it'll give you back violet. So that's that stuff. The color column is what's absorbed, Subtraction color is what is transmitted. So it seems the wavelength that is absorbed generally increases with the number of okay. Now, some stuff about DNA. Okay. All right. So. Okay, so many crustaceans produce a blue or green carotene protein complex. What is the most likely cause of the color change from green to orange when a lobster is boiled? Okay. Okay, so wait, what were you saying about denaturing?
Heat denatures the protein.
Mm-hmm.
The intermolecular forces. That's all I was saying. I understood that part.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't get. Oh. So the pigment is a part of the protein.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the carotene is an example of a pigment.
Gotcha. Okay. I get it.
Yeah, like beta carotene, whatever. It's like orangey. It's in carrots.
Oh. Okay.
And prosthetic group is I think it's non-organic. Let me double check that. Yeah. No. It could be. It's a non-protein part that is combined with a protein.
So yeah, it wouldn't affect the protein and the prosthetic group.
Yeah, because oxidation is like causing it to lose an electron, so that would be a redox reaction.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I think. Okay, so now just before you leave, what do you think I should? Because my plan is to basically do the full lengths on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So review on Friday and Sundays. And then, so I still have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah.
For those days. So, do you think I should? Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so when you go, for instance, when you go over, this test, look at, the subject so the ones that you get wrong, right? Look at what subject it is. Maybe it tells you.
For them, some of these, they got it wrong. They don't have it right.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I was doing that. That's what I was telling you. I wrote down, stuff this time. Oh, you can't really see, but yeah.
Yeah, you have the blur thing going on.
Yeah, let me take it off. But hold on. Let me see preferences. I did that for one of my classes because yeah. But yeah, so basically I've been taking notes on the ones I got wrong.
Yeah, so the overall subject of the things that you get wrong, right? They'll fall into an overall subject, and then you could use mem.
Yep, that's what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
Let's see, I have it here. The list of stuff I need to go over.
Yeah. So, you can look at the thing on mem. So, let's see. Can you click on that tab? And we're at 2 hours, so I'll just charge you for the 2 hours, but we can go a little over. I just want to see the thing.
And go to memory. Let me log in. Is this on my other laptop? Ooh, how did I get 92 cards? Who told me? Need to go over that.
Yeah. So then you can look into whatever if you notice you have basically all the questions that you get wrong, cluster them and see if they if they're underneath like the same topic.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can read into the topic using mem.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, for instance, this would be like I guess it'll be like light and optics, maybe. If you click on that, I wonder what'll come up. Let's see. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, keep going. Okay.
That's all for light, and then this is optics. Ugh. Okay. And electrostatics. What was the question asking about?
I wonder if it would be under the topic of I guess it would be like I'm thinking of let's see what comes up.
Molecular bonds and enzymes and proteins maybe. They don't have that much stuff. This is not too bad at all.
that
like a week.
That question that you showed me, I guess, could be like an outlier. Let's see. So in that Kaplan test, let's like.
They also have where I can type in the.
Yeah. For this Kaplan test, let me do this. Like, let's show me like the ones that you got wrong. I'm gonna just write something. Like out, like I'm gonna like cluster them.
Okay. So give you the questions I got wrong.
Yeah, you could just like go through them like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, and
how do you do that? I don't know how to.
Oh, you can like just like. Press like the next button or whatever.
I'm saying, you know how on AMC you can just view the wrong questions.
Oh, I see.
That's okay. So you're saying just go through it. Okay, so number 1, but it's not all of them that I need extra help with after I reviewed it. Do you want me to give you the ones I still had questions about after doing my own review?
Mm-hmm.
So that's number 2. So number 2, number 6.
Yeah, that one's crazy. Forget that one.
Okay.
And I would never say that. But that is literally crazy. Let's see.
I got this one right, and I was looking at their explanation, and I just wanted to know if you had a quicker explanation for this when it comes to breaking it down like this.
Uh-huh.
Or if that's how you recommend I do it.
Let me see the question.
It's right here to the left.
Oh. Diameter is that of the thing, of the other thing is that. Oh, okay. Okay, so basically, they give you the diameter for both of these things, and a force is going to be the same for both of them, and pressure is force over area.
I get the breakdown and everything. Yeah. But I was wondering if how would you tackle it? Would you go this long thing that they did here?
So let's see. So basically, diameter, like half of that is radius, but that's the thing that you square when you do this. When you do like a area of something that's circular. So I guess I would let's see. So they're asking about the pressure felt at the oval window. That's the one that's 2 millimeters. So I would do this. I would basically just do like see how many times 2 goes into 8, which is 4 times. And since you square it, I would square that. So it'll be 4 squared.
Okay.
So, like, let me ask. So, yeah, that's basically, like, it's kind of like, remember when I would write, like, proportionality and stuff?
Yeah.
So I would write maybe, like, I don't know, like, pressure, or, yeah, like, pressure is proportional to the square of the radius. And since the diameter is just double the radius, it will also be true for diameter. So pressure is proportional to the square of diameter.
Okay.
So that's the relationship here.
Okay. Yeah, and it was just one more, number 24, but I already showed you that one. Okay. So many equations. Oh my god. Okay.
There isn't, like, a... I just want to see, like, a general, you know... Like, I want to, like, see, like, basically, like, the ones that you got wrong, and then I want to, like, cluster them into particular areas, and then, you know?
Okay. So 24 was another one. This one.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we did that one. And
okay, so because it was only like 3 of them that I still needed I had questions about. So do you want me to just show you all of the wrong ones I got? All of the ones I got?
You just show me the ones that you have questions about from, like, all the sections, I guess.
Got you. So now so for CP, it was the Chatlayer's principle, beta oxidation.
Oh, I mean, you can go over, like, the questions, like, the particular ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already have beta oxidation written.
The Chatlayer's principle. Like, I understand it, but this one.
Oh, no. You understand it. It's just that this thing is, like, if you were to... Actually, it would be helpful if you, like, just wrote that, like, reaction 1, and then underneath acyl-CoA, just write activated fatty acid.
Okay.
Because the way it's written, it seems like it's not a fat... Like, if you didn't know it was an activated fatty acid, then everything that you said logically would be true.
Okay.
So, it's kind of like when glucose is phosphorylated in glycolysis. It, traps it in the cell, yeah. So, if it... Like, if it said, like, glucose, then on the other side of the reaction, glucose 6-phosphate, if we didn't know that it was an activated version of glucose, it would seem like you're going from glucose to not glucose.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is where the confusion came in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to see, like, you know, just a general idea of, like, the other things. You can show me, I guess, just anything that you've gotten wrong or something.
Okay, let me see another one. Oh, this was that stupid passage.
I'm gonna also add proportionalities.
This one, it was just me not understanding the relationship at first. After I...
okay. So check this out. Sound, right? So the speed of sound through different media is, like, opposite that of light. Like, light is fastest when it has nothing in its way.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking when I was doing this.
It's weird.
It travels fastest in solids.
Yeah.
And liquids. Yes.
So you see how the speed it's at B is at its highest point? That's when it transmits it through the bone. So, like, basically, like, check this out. So, like, in the external auditory canal, that's sound traveling through the air.
Mm.
And then when it hits the tympanic membrane, it transmits that sound through vibrations in the bones. So it's going to go faster. And then it goes into like the fluid. So that's going to be sound traveling through liquid in the inner ear.
Yep. Okay.
So that's why A is the lowest, B is the highest, C is like in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And this one, I don't know how I got it right, I guessed, but
okay, resonant frequencies.
Go over waves, basically waves and sound. For sure.
All right, that one. Wait, was that one that you got wrong or?
Okay. Oh, I got it right.
So, okay. Does it make sense? That's like electron with drawing groups, electron. Okay.
So I wrote down on my list of things to go over electron with drawing groups because I kind of did process of elimination for this one. Mm-hmm. But for electron with drawing groups, is that just the group 7? The halogens, and I just wanted to know if there were more, like, it is like a list, just like with strong acids, like.
Oh, so it basically everything comes back to electronegativity. So if something's very electronegative, like chlorine, it wants electrons. So it's gonna be like, it's gonna show up at the bank and be like, I want to make a withdrawal, and it's gonna take electrons away from whatever it's attached to.
Okay.
Electron donating groups are the opposite. They're like, I don't want this.
Yeah. So high electronegativity.
Yeah.
That electron withdrawing groups.
Yeah, I would do like, the proportional thing.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of acidity, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's taking electron density away from something, and it can be felt like down the chain. That's like the induction effect or something. Mm-hmm. So it can be felt along the chain. So like that hydrogen that's part of the acid, if you have an electron withdrawing group attached to it, it's going to pull the electron density away from it, making that hydrogen have more of a partial like positive charge. And since it doesn't get to have its own electron, like it does, but I mean like it's having it pulled away from the electron withdrawing group, it's going to want to leave.
Gotcha.
To get an electron from something else.
Okay. So that basically it depends on the proximity of it.
Yeah.
So it's close to the acid part. It's a better acid.
Yeah. So like you have like that's why you chose Roman numeral 1. It's closer to the acid, so it's going to have a stronger effect of pulling it. And then 3, it's like further away. And then 2, it's not there at all.
Yep.
Now, if there was, let's say there's Roman numeral 4 and you have a CH3 like attached to instead of like the Cl, you have a CH3, which is an electron donating group. Yeah, then it would make it the weakest acid because it's giving electrons, and every element wants electrons. So they can become like a noble gas, right? Fill its octet.
That makes sense. That one's good. This one, why did I get that one?
Oh yeah, so got it. So.
This was the whole electron donating stuff. You just gave the example of a methyl group.
This is about the thing on its own, I believe. So this is like carbocations.
Yeah, but this one has more methyl groups. That's what helps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can think of stabilization as like, let's say you have a charge. If you can spread that charge out over a greater area, then it's like it's not going to be as big of an effect. So that's why, for like SN1 reactions, because that makes a carbocation, that's why tertiary stuff are more likely to go through SN1.
Because they're more likely to have that carbocation.
Yeah, because the because primary carbocation is super super like unstable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to do like so it's going to be likely to not make a carbocation. So SN2 would happen where it's just one step.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, so yeah, so this is I'm gonna just add in like the color stuff. So
yeah, I changed my answer for this because I know pi orbitals. That's on a double bond. You have a sigma, one sigma bond, and then everything else after is a pi bond.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose pi orbital first, and then I changed my answer for some reason.
Yeah. So this is just something to like know. Basically, like the transition metals, they are different colors, and that's because they have d orbitals. So just think of just like I said, when you think of conjugated double bonds, think about colors. When you think of d orbitals, think of colors as well.
So why couldn't it be d orbitals?
So that's usually the case for an element by itself, like a transition metal.
Oh.
But this just happens to be a organic compound.
Okay.
And so organic compounds are just, with carbon and hydrogen and oxygen and stuff. So this is where the conjugated double bond part comes in with the pi bonds. So like I would I'll just write this in this note thing. So like color for organic compounds, think conjugated double bonds, pi bonds. For elements, think d orbitals, so transition. Because I was going to say that the reason that you know how we have iron in our blood, like hemoglobin?
Yeah.
That is what gives off a reddish kind of color. And like lobsters and stuff, they actually have copper.
Got you.
And when that attaches to oxygen, it gives off like a bluish green. So like the Statue of Liberty is like copper, but through oxidation, it gives off like a greenish color.
Makes
sense. I think spiders also have that kind of that blue blood.
So yeah, that's why. So metals, transition metals, is what causes the color when it's attached to something. Okay.
Sunscreen.
Yeah, this one was so stupid. I literally sunscreen. Why would it absorb light? That I don't know what I was thinking. This is one of those where I put moving too fast.
Oh well, I mean, it does. So like for instance, melanin, right? Like that pigment does absorb light. And but so okay, in this case, so no, I'm just saying like your logic is valid.
Okay.
But let's see. They're saying zinc oxide, okay? All right, I see. So okay. We absorb some of the light, but we want to not absorb the UV light.
Okay. Got you.
So they're saying, so sunburn, for instance, like when sun hits your skin, basically it kind of like takes off that outer layer, and then to regenerate, it activates melanin, which makes the skin darker. So that's when people get tans or whatever. But if they do it too much, right, they will absorb too much of the UV radiation, and then that's going to damage their skin. So they're talking about sunburn. So in this case, it's going to be
reflecting.
Yeah, but it does, you have the right idea.
Okay.
So I'm gonna add like light to it. Okay.
This one is just I kind of wasn't. I don't know. I didn't think to because it says here that it hydroxylates the side chain. So the side chain is from right here and on. So if it hydroxylates it at 2 different carbons. So one of the carbons is still here. So the other carbon has to be in the byproduct, or the intermediate, whatever byproduct.
Okay, so yeah, from that to the picture below of pregnenolone, you see the
what is it?
So figure 1 and then figure 2, right? Like that's what happens after hydroxylation. So it seems like 1 or 2 carbons stayed. So I would look at the structure of cholesterol and keep 2 carbons. So what's left seems to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 as the longest. Or wait. What am I talking about? 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's another thing added to that. Okay. Hydroxylates it, and then it cleaves. Okay. So, alright, so it seems like, let's see, 4-methyl-2-pentanone, and the answer is an aldehyde. So it seems like you had the right idea, just there was a... Because, okay. Oh! Alright. I thought that thing was an H, but there's no H there. My bad. Because I was counting, and I was like, why am I getting only 4 carbons as the longest chain? But I just thought that dashed line was...
Oh, it's a methyl.
Yeah. So, okay, so now that makes sense. So 5, that makes the pent thing make sense, okay? And then... So, okay, and then there's just 1, methyl from there. Did you see, two methyls?
On for what?
Oh, just the chain that gets kicked out?
No, it's still, it's only 1 because these are the 2. This carbon and this carbon, like you said, will stay and get hydroxylated, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a methyl.
Yeah.
Or 1, 2, 4, 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I just I was moving too fast. Same with this one. Oh, you would have been proud of me for this one because what you taught me. That's how I got that right. Kind of substituted stuff and made it. And then I looked at the relationship.
Cool.
Oh, did you want to?
Wait, what's up? Oh, no.
Did you still see it? Okay. This one. So the whole equilibrium constant, and this one I did change my answer. I wrote that, So small rings, their explanation is that small rings are extremely unstable. And the equilibrium constant of the forward reaction is proportional to the concentration of the product. So, yeah. So obviously, this has a lot more going on. So this one would have more products.
Okay.
Well, it has two extra carbons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Larger. Okay. All right. I'll check that out. All right. So capacitors is something that a lot of people have issues with. So I think I'm going to dedicate I'm going to make a really good kind of explanation
I think
of it.
That's on my thing, I believe. Yeah, that's something I have to go over.
Yeah, that's one of the harder concepts that they test on the MCAT.
All I know is Q equals CV. So when they add something beyond that, I get confused.
Yeah, and then I think there's 1/2, I think CV squared.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this reminds me of some class that I hated.
Yeah, this was
okay.
I just forgot what Pauli exclusion principle was, and I didn't think that singlet oxygen would be an electrophile because I was thinking of the radical one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, a free radical.
Yeah, so I was thinking that would be a nucleophile.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
right. Got it.
It was that. But yeah. Yeah, this one was a stupid. The answer is in the passage. It was a dumb mistake. So yeah, with the whole pH thing, that deals with solubility when you adjust the pH of a sample, right? If you protonate or deprotonate, it'll tell you if it's more soluble or less soluble in that solution.
Let's see. By adjusting the pH of the sample, they can induce the formation and dissolution of uric acid crystals. This is most directly because of the... Okay, so... uric acid crystals... So, okay. So, let's see. So, alright, your thing is about enzymes. Okay.
I was reading this.
Alright, so...
But this is...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying this is what I was reading. I saw this, I highlighted it, and then I just chose something that had purines. I was trying to,
Okay, so I think the thing that they're saying is directly. So, if it affected the enzyme, then that would be an indirect thing because it affects the enzyme, which then affects the creation of uric acid. That is what I would think. Does the explanation say direct is the key word here? Let's see.
They were talking about the whole solubility stuff. They didn't say.
So when they say it was isolated, so it happened already. So the enzymes aren't there, when they basically...
Oh yeah, that's what it said. I feel like with this question, they were trying to be
it says experimenters isolate urine.
Yeah, so they were like, why would you choose something with the enzymes if it was isolated?
Got it.
I feel like this was them trying to be smart. But
yeah. Okay, so, alright, got it.
Honestly, most of the questions I got wrong, if it wasn't content, it was because I was moving too fast.
Yeah. Drinking more water.
This was another thing. I learned this while I was reviewing my DB section, and that's something I added on my review to go over. I know you talked about blood osmolarity and kidneys, but it still doesn't make sense about the whole... I saw an explanation that said when you have increased blood osmolarity when you're dehydrated because you have less water and therefore less water reabsorption, and therefore you have more solute per solvent, the ratio. And when your blood osmolarity is low, the ADH increases. It's because ADH increases the permeability of the collecting duct, so it's absorbing more water. So there's more water reabsorption. And since H2O reabsorption is increasing without changing the concentration of the solutes, the amount of sodium you have, Yeah, so you still have that same amount of sodium. Your blood osmolarity is low and your urine is more concentrated. But to me, it was saying the same thing. Basically, you have more solute to solvent concentration for
Mm-hmm.
both.
Yeah, think about like the opposite of diluting something. If you want to dilute something, you add more water. If you want to make it more concentrated, you remove the water.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the relationship with osmolarity. If you're dehydrated, right, it's like you're removing the water. So whatever salts you have, there's more of a concentration of it. It becomes like more concentrated.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So I understood that part, but I just don't understand how, for one, you're increasing blood osmolarity, the other one, you're decreasing blood osmolarity, but you have the same thing. So how is it an increase and decrease when it's still basically saying you have more concentrated urine for both?
so okay. Well, that's like if you're dehydrated. Like let's say that you're not dehydrated or something, then you're essentially at like a stable like baseline. But everything you said is correct. I'm just trying to see. Um, they're talking about the kidney stone formation, and I see pH. Oh, I see. All right, okay, I get it. So I was actually going to like say it when you mentioned it. So like, basically, concentration is, you know how I always talk about ratios and stuff. Concentration is a ratio of the moles of that solute over like everything, right? The total like solute and solvent.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't like, if you have less solvent, like less water or more water, it doesn't change the amount of solute that's there. It can change the concentration. Like if you have like, let's say like, yeah.
So basically, one of them you're increasing your water, and one it's just it's more so dealing with water, even though so it's dealing with the ratio of solute to solvent, but it's dealing with water per se. Like that direct relationship is more so with the water.
Yeah. So D is saying the number of moles of the solutes, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
think of mole. Mole is just a measurement of like essentially like the number of particles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And think of molarity.
Mm-hmm.
Molarity is the number of moles in a volume of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So molarity is used to talk about concentration.
Mm-hmm.
Moles is just like a number. So you can have the same amount of moles. Like if you're dehydrated, right? The number of moles of salts and stuff like that doesn't really change. It's the amount of solvent, the amount of water that changes that makes it less concentrated, more concentrated.
Got you.
So, yeah, it doesn't change the number of moles. It would change the molarity though.
Got you.
So, this is just like the concentration aspect of it, which is
Okay.
that ratio.
Okay.
Because yeah, like if you think about diluting something, you add more water, you have the same amount of like that actual thing, and like
Mm-hmm.
vice versa.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got you. All right. I don't want to hold you up any longer. I know I'm way over my time.
Oh yeah, it's cool. I wrote some stuff down, so I have beta oxidation, proportionalities, sound, resonant frequencies, electron withdrawing groups, electron donating groups, carbocations, color. For organic compounds, think conjugated double bonds, which are pi bonds. For
Mm-hmm.
elements, think d orbitals, so transition metals. Light, I just wrote biochem. uh, okay. Equilibrium constant, capacitors, singlet oxygen. Okay.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I definitely need to go over this. The whole Pasuli. I don't know how to say his name.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Poiseuille's law and the Venturi effect.
Yeah, that crap.
That's something that I like to like. That's like one of the things that I would like demonstrate at like using like a straw wrapper and like bars and stuff. Like try it out. Like see if you forget it. I'll talk about it. Just go back one sec. Like hit previous.
Yeah, actually, I drew the picture that I found a picture online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like basically the idea with the straw thing that I was talking about is like, like let's say, I can use like a piece of paper. So like basically like I just like flip it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I use a straw wrapper because it's like light. It doesn't really work with like a paper.
Mm-hmm.
And like I put it against like a surface.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, no pun intended because this is called a Surface Pro. So if I blow, I can't get a good aim. If I blow like
mm-hmm.
in underneath that,
Mm-hmm.
it would cause. I would ask someone like do you think what like it'll go down or up, and they would usually think it'll go up, but if I blow down into this, it'll go down.
Mm.
So basically, the faster air moves, think about it's moving so fast, it essentially makes like a little vacuum, so it sucks the thing like down.
Gotcha.
That's how like kind of a plane works, like an airplane. It's essentially the shape of the wing that when it's going forward, it causes the air underneath it to have a higher pressure. It's the opposite of what I just did. To have a higher pressure than the air on top of it. So it pushes it up. So, okay, I'm going to add Venturi. I'm just going to say fluid dynamics.
Yeah, fluids is something that, yeah. Okay. I think that's,
Oh, yeah, I wanted to say something about that. So see how the Ca2 plus is between those bracket things?
What
like
packet?
in for A?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it's between
Oh, that's concentration of Ca.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right. MRI. So what was MRI again? Another word for
NMR.
Uh-huh. Good. Oh, cool.
So,
it talks about exactly what I was saying. The radio frequency and, the spin of all the protons align. They line up. And then they go back. All right, cool. So, all right. So, okay. I have a general idea. Yeah.
I haven't used that magnetic force equation in so long that I forgot about it, but it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Me neither.
So,
I think it's like QVB sine of theta.
Yep. So they just wanted me to
yeah.
say which one is not the
units. Tesla. Got it. I did some work on something called TMS using like I think an 11 Tesla MRI, which was really freaking powerful.
That one I didn't know. It says something about it uses odd in order to interact with magnetic field.
Oh, this is like the paramagnetic diamagnetic thing.
So it has to
I'm gonna write magnetism.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically paramagnetic basically will enable there to be like a different kind of spin.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not the orbitals aren't filled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it can like flip.
Mm-hmm.
There, yeah, like that. All right, got it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got this one right at least. It was independent, dependent variables.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Alrighty. I think that's it because the rest of these are. Let me see. That was a stupid mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So this one I did get right, but I don't get what they mean by. So if it's a what was the question? The superoxide anion, it has that -1 charge. So it said that's why it splits it, because it's two atoms, oxygen ones. So it's -1/2 for each one is oxidation state. But I was thinking, I was like, okay, if that's the case, then for diatomic oxygen, which is the molecular oxygen, I guess, O2 2 minus, wouldn't that mean that each O2 molecule only has a -1 charge?
So let's see. If you just look at the O2 minus, right? That's a -1 charge for 2 atoms. Right? So
yeah,
you can just do like -1 divided by the total number of atoms.
Okay, I think, and for this one, it'll be -2 divided by 2. But that would be -1 for each one. It is.
Oh, that would be for regular oxygen, O2.
Okay.
Because then you'd have, for each of them, right? -1 or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I was confused at their explanation.
Yeah.
But okay.
Okay, I'll add this one.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have a good idea of the things. And,
yeah, this was a dumb mistake. Yeah, okay.
Amide, no, you got that one. Okay. For D, tell me which one is a electron withdrawing group, which one's an electron donating group?
CH3 is the donating, NO2 is withdrawing.
Good. All right, cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I would go through like the ones that you like got wrong and see if there's any broad, or I'll send you like exactly what I just wrote down, to look at like the subjects of the things that you're need to like work on, and then also like remember that wiki pre-med site?
Who?
Oh, it's like a wiki pre-med. Here. I put it in the chat. But this is like basically like the best like physics resource in my opinion. They explain things really they explain things really well, and like the questions that they write are really, really good also.
Okay.
Like if you like go to topic chapters, like on the left. Yeah, just underneath. Yeah. Click on fluid mechanics. And hit and you could just like go through, like hit next. You'll see like again, sorry. So like there, pressure, and then it has like a nice picture, and it just pretty much explains things, and the things that they write underneath are really good. It says fluid mechanics will be much more intuitive if you can picture what's going on within the fluid at the molecular level. So think about I think thinking about things visually is going to help you a great deal, because I know you mentioned like knowing the formulas and stuff like that, but also like, well, of course, like that, know the formulas, but it's like when to use the formula, and a lot of times, they ask you questions like, what happens to this when this happens, or what will happen to this thing if the Venturi effect and stuff. So a lot of the questions that they ask are not even like, don't even involve you like having like basically like using a formula. They kind of ask you like what happens to this variable if this thing happens, right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, this is a really good resource. They even talk about they talk about basically everything you can need, but they talk about like the Bastille's law and stuff like that. All right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I'll text. So we're meeting again then on Friday.
Let's see.